Hi everyone and welcome to the Spring Snowflake channel. This is not a podcast. I'm going back into the planner world. Interestingly, I haven't done a planner video in 5 years. I should check that, shouldn't I? The last time I did a planner video was a long time ago, pre-child. And because of certain things that are happening in the yarn world at the moment, my two worlds are going to collide for July because I am doing One Book July. Now, for those of you who do not know about the One Book July challenge, it is a challenge that was set up, I think 5 years ago. No, more than that. Because I've done One Book July. Or maybe I haven't. Maybe I have been on more recently than 5 years. Baby brain, having a child, lockdown, it's done things to me. Anyway, so One Book July is a challenge that was originally instigated by 3 planning powerhouses that are Romany, Carrie Harling and Miss Vicky B. And for those of you who are in the planning world, you'll know who they are. If you're not, I'll put a link to their channels below. Now, One Book July was all about, at that point when they set it up, it was to try and just slow the planning world down. Everyone was in this whole thing about planner peace and stuffing their planners full with as much stuff as they possibly could. And the challenge, the original challenge was 1 book, 1 month. No, 1 book, 1 pen, 1 month. And it was basically get all your planning needs in 1 book. Now, for some people, a book could mean a traveller's notebooks where you have a couple of notebooks in there for all the different things. A lot of people took it quite literally, 1 book, that's how you're gonna run your life for that month. And a lot of people have simplified. A year later was 1 project, so 1 month, 1 project. 1 book, 1 project, I think. Anyway, there's always 3 in the tagline. Then they brought in Mimi, who is Everyday Awesome TV, and I'll link her down below as well, because they started, the digital planning trend was going on in that year, so they brought her on for digital stuff. And then I think last year they did the Bullet Journal Method, which is a book by Ryder Carroll, who's the original instigator of the Bullet Journal. This year they are doing Pick and Mix, and immediately I knew what I wanted to do and that I wanted to get involved this year. So I'm getting involved this year. So Pick and Mix, you can choose anything from any of the previous challenges. And I am picking out digital and project. Those are my 2 things. So I have my iPad Air, which I love, and I love this new case that I've just gifted to it. This is just a generic plan case. I have the Apple Pencil, and I decided that with the fact that, and this is where my yarn world comes into contact with my planner world, with the fact that Ravelry is not doing so well at the moment in terms of its inaccessibility and its sheer silence on the what it's doing with their new website, I decided that now's the time that I should take myself off there. And I realised that actually I rely on that website for a lot of stuff. Like, all my projects are all on there, all of my yarn collection is what's the word, recorded, that's the word. All my yarn collection is recorded on there. I have a community there, my podcast community is on there. Are on all my cals, my giveaways, make-alongs. That's a lot to just rely on one site, and it kind of feels like a very messy breakup right now for a lot of us. Now, me personally, I don't get affected very much by the new design of Ravelry, but much like with any kind of discrimination, you listen to the people that it's most affected by, and the people that it's most affected by are having seizures, having week-long migraines. Now, this thing has been, the website has been up and running for over 2 weeks now, and the response has been lacking, I think is probably the diplomatic way of saying it. So, with that being said, I need another solution for recording my knitting and crocheting life and all other peripheries. So what I am going to be doing is I am going to be creating a digital planner for myself on my iPad, and designing some templates for recording my projects, my collection, because I don't have a stash, I have a collection. I say stash every so often because it's the most used term, but I don't like that word. It has too many connotations with things that I don't particularly like, so I call it a collection. And also, it's one of my hobbies. One of my hobbies is collecting yarn, because I don't use all of it immediately. I don't use the majority of it immediately. I buy yarn because I go, well, this will be nice for a project, or this is pretty, or the single skeins. We've all done it, yarn folk. So I want somewhere that I can keep an eye on my collection and store it with images, how much I've got, what's the makeup, all that kind of stuff. And then as I use it, adjusting the totals and things like that. What else? I'm also starting to hand spin, so I've now got my spindle. When I film my podcast, which will hopefully be tomorrow, I'm doing a whole run of filming this week before Amelia breaks off from preschool. So I've got some hand spinning with my drop spindle from the class that I took at the Southern Wool Show last year. So I finally finished that, all 11 metres of it, which has meant 33 metres for Stash Dash. My Stash Dash total, somewhere that I can look at my progress on the alongs that I'm taking part in, my podcast show notes, all the prep that I do, actually would be really handy. Yes, I have my little traveller's notebook, which I'm going to film about in another video, which I could jot down notes on for the podcast, and I have an insert in there for the podcast, but actually it'd be really useful to have it digitally, so it can sync between my iPad and my phone and my Mac and my computer. So because I wanted something that would sync between all the different digital items that I own, I have chosen to have my planner in OneNote. OneNote is owned by Microsoft, and it's not as pretty an interface as, say, GoodNotes or Zoom Notes, like a lot of other digital planners use, but it's a lot, for me, it's very functional. I use it already for my tutoring work. The tutoring company that I work with, we use that to keep notes and to write our to-do lists, and everyone can kind of access that, and that's really handy. I have it for notes that I want to keep on my phone but don't necessarily want to use the notes function on my phone because that doesn't sync onto all my devices. I am an Apple girl. I have a Mac right there, I have my iPad, I have my iPhone. I'm not knocking you back because you're on the thing. But I also have a Windows laptop. I have a Microsoft Surface laptop. So I need something that will transcend the Apple sphere. So OneNote seems like the best thing. I've also downloaded Procreate onto my iPad, so I can get a little bit fancy and arty with it. No just doing it in Excel or PowerPoint for me. So that's my project. So my project is to digitally create a digital planner for my yarn journal. So the project for July is to create the templates and the overall planner, the overall journal, so that I can fill it, and that's the second part of my project. So I'm hoping that the first 2 weeks of July will be spent creating these inserts and creating those templates just the way that I want them to. And that's the beauty of digital, isn't it? That you can move things about, and if something doesn't quite work, you go back to the template and you move things about anyway. Yeah, that's my One Book July. Technically not in a book because it's digital, and technically not everyday planning, therefore the project. So yeah, I'm going to try and check in every week just to show you what I'm doing, and with that there'll be some screen sharing so that I can show you kind of what I'm creating, and I might even do some time lapses of me actually creating stuff. You never know if I could work that out in Procreate. I have a Skillshare subscription, and I'm really enjoying using that platform. I've really enjoyed using it for learning about Procreate. There's loads of stuff on there about digital art and things like that. There's a couple of planner ones as well that use Procreate. I've also been doing quite a lot in terms of web design. It's one of the things that I'm kind of quite interested in, so I'm looking at that. I use Final Cut Pro on my Mac to edit my videos. lots of different stuff on that as well. There's even some spinning courses on there, which has been really useful. So I've been definitely getting my money's worth out of Skillshare. I think that's it. So yeah, that's my intro. Check back in a week and see how I'm doing. This is going to definitely be a month of videos because I've still got to film a podcast. I want to show you my planner. Maybe I'll save that till August. Let's not overload ourselves, shall we? And then yeah, the other thing that I'm doing in July is for the next 3 months, is I am aiming to walk, or rather step, 850,000 steps in 3 months, which is about 10,000 a day. It's not completely not doable, but yes, in 3 months I'm doing that for dementia. It's called Step Up for Dementia, and I think it's the Alzheimer's Society that I'm doing it in aid of, who I supported for my dear departed granny. So yeah, lots of challenges, lots of things, lots of projects to do in July, and also having a small child at home because she finishes preschool on Friday. So, fun and games. Right, if you have any questions, comments, queries, pop them in the comments below. I'm back, my planning people. It's a bit different, but hopefully you'll enjoy the journey, and you never know, if the templates are good enough at the end, then I may give them out free on my blog. We'll see, maybe free to my patrons, because it's all about the benefits for the people that support me and this channel. Right, and I'll see you in the next one.